Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, an acronym that I keep hearing about at the moment is CDP, which stands for Customer Data Platform. For example, Gartner published a marketer's guide to exactly what it is and what it isn't, and also how marketers can create a business case for customer data platforms earlier this year. And other industry groups seem to be focusing on this space too. And the Customer Data Platform Institute, founded in late 2016, actually publishes educational materials, news, best practice guides and benchmarks all related to CDPs. However, with this increased awareness and momentum that's building, there's still some confusion about this category, and also a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon and muddying the waters. So I joined forces with my old friend Karl Wirth, who's the CEO and founder of Evergage, who's the only person on this planet that I've performed a poolside interview with in Las Vegas. So if you want to know more about what a CDP is, and also what isn't a customer data platform, and what a business should be looking to achieve with one, you're in for a treat today. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way back stateside so we can speak with Karl Wirth, founder and CEO of Evergage. So a massive welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, Karl. We've spoken many times, including my one and only Vegas poolside interview. But for anyone new to Evergage and yourself, can you tell the listeners a little about who you are, what you do, and what makes Evergage stand out from the other big solutions out there?
Sure, Neil, and I'm glad to be back. I remember that interview well. I think it was my one and only Vegas poolside interview so far in my career. I'm Karl, CEO of Evergage, and Evergage is the one-to-one platform. So what that means is we're a customer data platform and a personalization platform, and we enable businesses to understand and engage with each person, each prospect or customer as a person, as an individual, but just do that at digital scale. We do that through machine learning, and we're leveraging that to both understand the person and then engage them in web, mobile, email, call center, and more.
Now, one of the big reasons I invited you back on the show today was to talk about customer data platforms, which are often referred to as CDPs, because that category has been getting a lot of buzz lately. So for marketers, and in fact anyone listening, what is and what isn't a customer data platform? And also, what are the differentiating features from your point of view?
Yeah, it's a great question, and CDPs have been getting a lot of buzz lately, and I think for good reasons. Sometimes the buzz can just be hype, but I think in this case, it's quite an important concept and platform for marketers and for businesses. The kind of basic definition of a CDP that a lot of people use is that it's got three characteristics. It's a marketer managed system. So that's an important characteristic. It's meant for business person and primarily marketers, although others as well. But in that system, you have a unified view of all of your customer data. So a unified customer database where you got your behavioral data flowing in, your attribute data. And that's what would differentiate it from a CRM, is that it's not just attributes about known customers. It's anonymous prospects, known customers, and high volume web digital clickstream data all in one place. So marketer managed, put all that information about a customer into one place, and it's at a per customer level. But then that's accessible to other systems. So it's not just for analytics, but it's also accessible. And here people differ, but I feel strongly, and I think most people do, that it has to become a system of action. It has to enable you to activate that data into other channels and into action.
So if we do have any CEOs or leaders listening, why do companies need CDPs right now?
Yeah, it's a very important question. So it's because, and I think all C leaders know this, that there are 2 points: that their customer data is scattered across their organization in many different places. They have their web analytics data on what the person's doing in the digital channels and sort of a web analytics system, or maybe in some kind of data lake. They have CRM with attribute data. They have in-store purchase data, call center data, service data, all in different places about that one customer. And so they've got to get that into one place if they're really going to understand what's happening with that customer, or prospect. I'm using customer broadly, could be a prospect or paying customer. And so they got to get it in one place to understand. And then once they get that into that place to understand, they want to be able to leverage it back into giving a better experience to that customer or prospect, talking to them in a more relevant way.
So assuming that a customer data platform is much, much more than just another passing marketing fad, where would you begin to create that business case for a CDP?
Yeah, I think it's the classic top line and cost savings. So starting with the, I think, most important, which is how can it drive revenue for the business? What's more important to a business than to understand your prospects and customers and leverage that understanding to give them a great experience that's going to help them buy in the first place or continue to be a customer and pay more and upsell, et cetera, over time. So we all know this is the top priority, and all businesses have tried to do it, and I think some fairly well in the physical world. The problem is it's been impossible to do that in the digital world. So how do you do that at scale in the digital world? And with CDPs, and particularly CDPs, as we're kind of talking about it, tied into personalization, it is now possible. And so getting specific, I think it's increasing customer-related top-line metrics. So if you're e-commerce, that's more conversions to purchase, more repeat purchasers, more loyal customers. Financials, getting people down that funnel to better sign up, whether they're talking to a call center agent or on their website, increasing those conversion rates. And then once they are a customer, increasing that lifetime value and the customer satisfaction and the upsells and cross-sells you can give them.
Are there any other objectives that you think companies should align with CDP to get the most out of it?
Yes, definitely. And so I think continuing on with the business case, then just on the bottom side of it in terms of cost savings, it's just that efficiency of getting the data in one place, having one conversation about that customer, cross-marketing, analytics, customer support, et cetera. And so I think, as people are trying to roll out a CDP initiative, the thing that they should be thinking about is that it's not just a customer database. It has to be a system of action. It has to be something that's being leveraged not just to understand, but also to engage. And I think the other thing that people should think about is, don't boil the ocean. While this can sound vast, okay, get all customers' data from all databases and analytics everywhere into one place, and then we'll activate that into all other channels, and life will be rosy. That is the goal, and you should be looking to buy a system that can eventually do all of that, but then lay out a plan and a program of getting there that lets you have lots of small wins along the way. So, okay, let's take this channel and grab that data and leverage it over here to big impact. Okay, now let's add another set of data and another channel and build up slowly over time.
So as with any hot topic, there are going to be a few companies that are going to attempt to hop on and ride that wave too. I mean, I think we've seen quite recently with blockchain that the amount of companies that are just sticking blockchain in the title of their company just to get on board, even though they've got nothing to do with blockchain. So what questions should businesses ask when selecting a CDP vendor just to separate the good from the bad and those pretenders that I just mentioned? It's
a great question, and it is. That aspect of marketing is so easy to do. You can slap it on your website and on your booth, and boom, you're a CDP, just like that. Yeah. And that is certainly happening. And so, yeah, you have to get to, were you purpose built to be a CDP, or are you leveraging the trend? You see a lot of tag managers, for example, just to sort of pick on one category, that are now all CDPs. And so I think there are 4 or 5 characteristics of questions that you want to ask. Basically, you're trying to get at, were you purpose built to be a CDP? From the beginning, is that the point of this platform, or are you trying to tack it on? And so one is that one question would be, do you have a unified customer profile? So at the center of the system is everything flowing into a profile of an individual prospect and customer, whether anonymous or named. So that's a key question. And if it's a B2B, if you're looking for B2B CDP, does that customer profile, can you do it at the account level, an account level profile, and a customer level profile, just like a CRM, but the difference being of all this other sorts of data and kinds of activation that you're doing. Yeah. So and then just two or three other characteristics. So that unified profile, does the company have a integration orchestration layer? Not do they integrate with 3 things, but do they have a layer that allows them to have integration with many things and add those over time, because you want to grow into that and make sure that's a sort of first class part. The third would be, is it real time? If you're just, a lot of customer databases are sort of playing themselves off as CDP. Well, yeah, we can put data into this database, but can you action on that in real time, which is needed in digital world? And then finally is the sort of, I keep harping on the activation. Maybe we could talk about that more a little bit later. But can you enable segment level and one-to-one level personalization with it to actually use it to have digital conversations? Those would be the key characteristics.
Now, many CDPs do serve as a system of record, and we did hint around the problems caused by data silos, for example. That's one that springs to mind. But why do you think it's important to have that one system of action right now?
Yeah, and we've been sort of hinting around this through the conversation. So let me address it directly, which is that let's imagine a scenario where you go into the CDP initiative. You're like, that's right, I have my customer data scattered all over my organization. I want to get it in one place and put it into a customer database, or let's call that a CDP, and I'll put it on one place. And it's a bunch of work, and you do it, and at the end of the day, you have the celebration party. All the data is now flowing into this one place. The immediate next question will be to turn around and say, okay, now what are we going to do with it? And having it in that one place, you can do analytics on it and learn. But what you want to do is to use it to turn it into a system of action. I now have this understanding of Neil as my customer, as Karl as his customer, or maybe as my prospect, very deeply in one great place. Great. I need to act on that. And, I need to act on it not just with people looking at that record of Neil, but with systems looking. My website needs to change based on its understanding of Neil. My mobile app, what emails I send should be different based off of that understanding of Neil. I have it. How frustrating would it be to then realize, oh, I can't actually act on it in real time. Oh, I can act on it by putting Neil into a group and sort of talk to him different that way, but I can't actually talk to him as Neil, even though I have all this data about him just as Neil. So we strongly recommend, as people are thinking about their CDP initiative, that they don't start from the sort of left end of, if you're looking on a matrix of, I'll take data and I'll stick it into a database and then I'll think about doing something. But they actually start on the other end and say, what am I going to do with this at the end? What's my goal? And we hear from everyone. The real goal is to talk to people at a one-to-one level differently and at a group level differently. So if we're going to do that, then we need to build our CDP as a system of action from the beginning, or buy a CDP that is a system of action, because that is the ultimate goal.
So at Evergage, how do you guys approach the topic of CDPs, and how is that different from other vendors, would you say?
Yeah, maybe thank you for asking that. Maybe I should break it into those two, use that sort of rubric of system of record versus system of action. And we are obviously both, but let's talk about a few differences in each area. So even just in that system of record of pulling all that data into one place about the customer, we were purpose built with a profile, and we can handle that at both the B2B and B2C level. So accounts and people for B2B and just people for B2C. But within that record, we are collecting much deeper data. A key part of CDPs is that you're bringing in not just attributes and sort of data we're kind of used to in a CRM, but you're also building this broad clickstream type data. And so we can bring in that data, but we bring it more deeply than anything else that's out there. We're collecting, we call it true engagement, time, mouse movement, just much deeper understanding of their interactions, which leads to a deeper understanding of the person. And we're also collecting a fuller context. So we're not just thinking, did this person click? Did this person do this or that? But the meaning of it in your business, in our customer's business. So we can understand the contextual meaning. They have interest in these kinds of brands. They have interest in this kind of content that tells us, that they're interested in this potential financial product or this technology product. And then lastly, on system of record, we have this very robust integration layer so that we can pull data in and orchestrate that as well as out. And then in terms of system of action, some of our differentiators are we're very much, and I think almost uniquely, built to be this unified CDP and personalization platform. So when our customer does all that effort of putting their data into one place, they can then activate it into other systems at the segment level, but leverage us to actually activated or personalized at the one-to-one level, into web, email, etc.
Now, we have spoken to each other quite a few times over the last few years, and one thing that's changed in recent months, of course, is we're now living in a post-Cambridge Analytica world. Has that changed anything for you guys at all?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think this is one of the things that are powerful about the CDPs and perhaps also our approach to CDP is that CDPs are very much first-party data. So it's data, you're not trying to track the person across the web with a third-party cookie. You're looking to understand them based off of their interactions with you and your business over time. And so this is a much less risky area. And as we've always encouraged our customers to respect their and prospect and customers' wishes to opt out or to have data expunged and those kinds of things. And so it's not a major impact at all because we're collecting data for our customers on behalf of their customers and using it to give that customer a better interaction and experience with the brand or company that they're dealing with. Most people want that. If they don't, then they'll opt out. But we haven't seen a large increase in the opt-outs, so it's been a minimal impact.
Fantastic. So what's next for Evergage? Is there anything else that you can share with me today about what you guys are going to be up to in the next 12 to 18 months?
Well, first we should schedule some more poolside interviews. So I'd like to get that on the annual agenda. This location is not as nice as that. But in terms of the business, for us, big focus is on machine learning. We're talking about large-scale sets of data for one person, let alone across hundreds of thousands and millions of prospects and customers for our customers. And so you can't do this well without machine learning. And so we have a lot today, both in the helping understand people and helping better engage them with relevance. But there's so much more to be done there. So that's a big focus for us. And then the other is just continuing to add integrations. We have a strong integration layer and a bunch out of the box, but there's so many systems out there. So we're going to continue to roll those out as well.
Fantastic. Well, before I do let you go one more time and walk off into the distance, could you point the listeners in the right direction of the Evergage website, of course, and along with any contact details for anyone listening that wants to carry this conversation on with Evergage?
Definitely. So the company, again, is Evergage, and it's spelled Evergage. So ever or continuous engagement, ever, Evergage. And it's just evergage.com. And we'd love to talk to you there.
As always, Karl, one of the things I love about what you're doing there is you are providing better interactions, better experiences. I think everything you do seems to be at the respect of the customer, and you give them those options to opt out, which is so important now. And in many ways, you're ahead of your time before this whole Cambridge Analytica thing blew up.
I think that's right.
So big thank you for coming back and talking with me today. And note to self, book in poolside interview for about 6 months' time. How does that sound when the winter kicks in?
That sounds great.
If you wanted to know exactly what is a CDP, what are the differentiating features, and why do companies even need CDPs, what should companies look to achieve with one, and also what questions businesses need to ask when selecting a CDP vendor, I'm hoping that you found today's conversation useful. Because there are so many salespeople out there jumping on the bandwagon and introducing themselves as a blockchain or CDP or any buzzword or trend just to get their foot in the door. And it's never been more important to educate yourself on exactly what these solutions and the technology are all about. So again, hope this conversation helped, but hey, you might be sat listening to this at home or even on your commute to the office with your own valid points and your own valuable insights and experiences with CDPs. And I want you to share them not only with me, but with the audience too. And you can do that by emailing me at techblogwriter@outlook.com, or of course you can tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. And if you pop by my website, techblogwriter.co.uk, you'll also find a way of leaving me a virtual voicemail. Now, we do have a bit of a legend on the show tomorrow, and I'm officially excited. So I'm going to get some sleep now and say, until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.